This is a video tutorial for the Happy Days Jennie apron. It's a very useful apron. It ties at the back and it has two big pockets at the front, and this is how you make it. And this is what you'll need: fabric for the outer front, fabric for the pocket lining, fabric for the pocket front, and fabric for the back. And you'll also need fabric for the ties. Start by making the pocket. Place your pocket lining right sides up and place your pocket front right sides down on top. If you're using directional fabric, this will be the top of your pocket. Make sure that your sides and all along the top line up, and when you're happy with that, pop a few clips in along there. I popped a few clips along the top. It is right that the lining shows below or will be revealed when we join it all together. I'm going to take it over to the sewing machine and use 1/4 inch seam allowance, starting there, sew all the way along, joining the lining to the outer of the pocket. I've sewn all along, joining the front and the lining of the pocket together. Now I'm going to flip it over and lining up the edge of the front of the pocket to the lining, and then as you'll see, there's a little bit of the lining showing to give a nice finish. I'm going to take it over to the ironing board and I'm going to press it. I've pressed it, and now I'm going to take it over the sewing machine and I'm going to top stitch all along as close as I can to the red fabric to give a nice finish. Next, place the pocket on the front fabric. Make sure that the sides and all along the bottom line up, and then put some clips along there, along the bottom and along the side. I've popped a few clips in, and now I'm going to take it over the sewing machine and I'm going to tack quite close to the edge all the way down to the bottom and stop, all the way across the bottom and stop, and then back up the other side and stop. So quite close to the edge. You won't see these stitches in the final make, they're just simply holding stitches. I've tacked quite close to the edge all the way around the pocket, and now I need to find the centre of the pocket, and to do this simply fold your fabric in half and line everything up correctly, and then crease along there. You might want to take it over to your iron, but I'm just finger pressing it, and then open it out, and then take your ruler and a heat erasable pen and draw a line along the crease. I've drawn a line along the centre. It doesn't show up that well on this fabric, but it is there. So I'm going to take it over the sewing machine and I'm going to start at the top and sew all the way down to the bottom, and this will form two pockets. I've sewn over the line I drew, and I've also erased it with the iron, and this has formed two pockets either side of the line. Next, take your back fabric and place it right sides together on top. Line up all the sides and the edges, and then put some clips along the one side or along the bottom and along this side. Do not put any clips along the top. I've clipped along the two sides and along the bottom, and now I'm going to take it over to the sewing machine and I'm going to start at the top, using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, sew along the one side to the bottom and stop, sew along the bottom and stop, and then back up the other side and stop. You might find it helpful to add a few pins around just to keep your fabric stable as you sew. We won't be sewing along this top edge. I've sewn all the way around and I've clipped each of the corners, and now I'm going to turn it the right way by turning it through the top. Now turn your strap over and fold it in half lengthways, right sides together, and press carefully all along the strap. I've pressed the entire length of the strap, I've folded it in half, and I've marked that centre with a pin. Next, take your apron that you made earlier and fold it in half and finger press, and this is to determine the centre. Open out and place a pin on that line, that crease that you made. Place your strap on top of your apron and using the centre line that you've marked with pins, line it all up. Mark a 1 centimetre line from the edge of your apron out and mark it either with a pen or a pin. This is the open raw end here. And do the same on the other side. Next, clip along the whole remaining length of your strap to the end and do the same for this side. I've clipped along the open end and all the way along up to the mark I made, and now I'm going to take it over the sewing machine and use a 1/4 inch seam allowance, sew along the open end and stop, and all along to the mark I made, and repeat this for the other side. I've sewn across the end and I've sewn all the way along to the mark I made, and I've also done this for the other side, and now I've got to turn it the right way round through the gap in the middle. I've turned the strap the right way and I've pressed it, and I've also pressed in the seam allowance. And now take your apron and place it in the gap. Push the top of the apron to the top of the strap and then place some pins all along. I've pinned the strap and I've also ensured that the back is folded over as well. And now I'm going to take it over to the sewing machine, and starting at the gap about 1 centimetre in from the edge, what we left, I'm going to sew all the way along, top stitching to the end. I've top stitched all along, joining the strap to the apron, and that's your Jennie apron all finished.